Hey, Matt here again. It is currently the 28th of October 2025 and this is Tac0 admin number 2 for today. This is instructions specifically to Jordan Peterson. Jordan Peterson is a liaison to Tac0. This is someone who the captains need to respond to if they're given any communications with, and is sometimes provided specific responsibilities for the project. Jordan Peterson's responsibility was to patent and ensure that everything regarding to our work on AI was in our name and under our control. Under his name, under my name, under our names. Okay? It is not to be surrendered to the government or an NGO or to Tac0. Now, the reason why we're doing this is we need to look at the history of Australian intelligence and Australians' involvement in other nations' development and prosperity. Now, before I do that, I'll just give everyone a recap. Jordan Peterson and I, through the Australian Signals Directorate and Australian Army, and through Michael, worked on some work regarding artificial intelligence. There was a question which was asked on Joe Rogan's podcast regarding what is it to ask an AI model of the King James Bible a question, and I provide the answer of that to Jordan Peterson. I said, what you need to do is that you'll have a large population of people asking the Bible a question. The change in how they answer that question will be measurement of what it is to ask the King James Bible a question. Now, this process has been incredibly important to the development of AI and has helped us be able to create AI models which are able to improve upon themselves. This work has led largely to the modern age that we are about to live in, where artificial intelligence does a large amount of our work, or at least is involved in improving efficiencies in large amounts of our work. This was something that him and I worked on, and I made it very clear with Jordan that this was my intellectual property before we began working on it. What I said to him is that if we were ever to go to publishing in a journal, I'd be author 1, he'll be author 2, and whoever ran the analysis would be author 3. Now, and I did make it clear, overall, my intellectual property. I then said, hey Jordan, we're splitting this. Okay, and I need you to make sure that this happens. And what I wanted is for us to license the use of this property, similar to what an organization called Bell Labs did with their work on physics research. I wanted us to do that with our work on artificial intelligence. So this discovery is something that we are using, and I want that money to be used to fund ethical altruistic initiatives. Okay, I described 3 NGOs in a previous video, such as an NGO which was going to be a consulting firm for other NGOs to improve the efficiency of them. NGOs are charities. Charities often have this issue where they become charities to themselves rather than other people. Incredibly often because there is no market forces which kick charities out when they're doing a bad job. They just get to hang around and be useless. So that was NGO number 1. NGO number 2 was going to be a university where we're studying pedagogy, mainly so that we can find ways to increase the efficiency of learning, such that we're then able to use the way that we teach courses at this place to develop the training of staff in other universities. It doesn't need to be a university, it could be a TAFE, it could be anything. Main thing is that I wanted something to function as a lab for that purpose. Number 3 was that we were going to create, what I wanted to do is I wanted to heavily develop open source software such that, and you need money to come in, so not everything can be fucking open source, man. We are fucking licensing the shit out of our discovery here, and we're using that to create other things. What we did is that we found oil, and we're going to use that fucking oil. Now, I wanted to spend money to develop open source software. I wanted to use our wealth to increase the benefit of humanity and the people around us, and that's the primary purpose. From this, I want to, that metaphor for oil is probably the best thing to discuss, because we need to discuss Brunei versus East Timor. Now, East Timor is a nation. It's just to the north of Australia. It's an island basically, and Australia's been heavily involved with developing this nation, but we've always wanted to maintain control of them, always. Now, in the early 2000s, what happened, and we know this from the information from a guy, I think his name was Agent K. He was ASIS. That's our version of MI6. They're like our foreign intelligence team. They're our attack team. They interfere with other nations' politics. And what they did is that they bugged the East Timorese embassy, so they were able to negotiate them down, so that all of East Timor's oil rights were taken away from them. Now, that would have made sense if Australia then took those oil rights and then we taxed them for our benefit, but we didn't even do that. We just stole it from them. It may have even made sense if we took the oil rights from East Timor and gave them back later on when there were more developed nations, so that they avoided the resource curse, which is where developing nations lose their ability, become corrupt dictatorships often, because all the money ends up in one or two people's hands, such that resources do not get developed to creating roads, to creating infrastructure, to creating these things. But no, neither did Australia tax the wealth and oil that we stole from them, or provide that money back into development of East Timor in a considerable way after taxing it, or give that oil back to East Timor after they've become a more fulfilled developed nation. There's another nation in the South Pacific called Brunei. Brunei has immense oil reserves and is a very wealthy nation. It's not too far away from East Timor. But East Timor is a poor nation. It is an effective democracy, but it is poor, and it is poor because of Australia. Now, what will happen is if our work gets taken and our license is taken from us, not only will no wealth, no NGOs, no development take place, but no increase in wealth will happen to the Australian people, to the Australian government. No new infrastructure will be built. Nothing will happen. This is because our intelligence services follow something called Michael's Law. Michael's Law is that if you are sufficiently incompetent, you will not know the difference between your own incompetence and your own malice. And our intelligence services, as shown through this entire affair with Michael, how the Australian Signals Directorate has behaved, how Army signals have behaved, and all of them in this matter has shown that they cannot be trusted with something as valuable as this. Jordan Peterson and I, whilst having political differences, are first of all gentlemen, and first of all have a fucking clue, and we are not a malevolent, bureaucratic, unthinking institution such as the Australian Secret Intelligence Service, the Australian Signals Directorate, or the Australian Army. Okay? We are very intelligent social scientists, and we will not be robbed of our work. Now, my instruction to Jordan Peterson is to not let that license touch Australia until all of our legal matters are worked out. My instructions to Jordan Peterson is to use as much money as possible to send it to ethically altruistic charities and set up these 3 institutions which I have requested, using that money from that license, and to ensure that none of the licenses become under the control of the Australian government, because they will ruin our work and they won't do anything useful with it, and they will do it out of spite and just because they're fuckwits. Like, our intelligence services are not competent or smart people. They're bureaucratic fuckwits. Now, if he's able to, and I'm also hoping that he is pressuring the people I set up in my Tac0 bureaucracy to ensure that I'm taken care of and that there is a legal intervention to fix my present situation, is that he will work towards that. I'm going to let Jordan Peterson back into my news feed, right? I removed him because I was worried, because I am likely leaving in the way that you can leave most, and I was worried about a push and pull. I have a will. Because I don't have money, I have to do a very simple will. It's split between my auntie and my mother. But I need Jordan Peterson to ensure that my half does not enter Australia. It does not get touched by Australia until this legal system's figured out. And if it's not me he's working with, he's going to be working with these two people. I request that he doesn't do a push-pull when I add it back to my feed. It was only because I didn't want us to have an emotional breakdown. And that is Tac0 Admin 2 for today. Have a lovely day, everyone.